between Hopkins and Dawson, and you'll see the 18-year age advantage for Dawson. He's also an inch taller at 6'2". Arm length measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, a 2-inch advantage for Dawson. Hopkins still productively vain about that skinny waist of his, weighed in at 173.5. Dawson a half-pound under the light heavyweight limit, and you can see that overnight Hopkins has rehydrated up to 183, and Dawson will outweigh him 4 pounds in the ring.
Tonight, just gonna see Bad Chad Dawson being Bad Chad Dawson. You know, I'm not gonna lose my cool. Whatever he does, you know, I'm just gonna make him pay. He's already a legend. You know, I can't take that away from him, but I can be the one that beats the legend. So, you know, that's where my legacy begins.
Here's Chad Dawson, originally from South Carolina, has lived most of his life in Connecticut, pride of Hartford, Connecticut. He has had several trainers, and in preparation for the fight with Hopkins in the fall, reunited with a trainer he had been with before named John Scully. He says that he believes Scully is the guy with whom he has the best rapport, and that Scully helps him to be a better offensive fighter. Emmanuel, it means a lot to a fighter to have the trainer he wants.
But he's very comfortable with him. It's much like the Petronellis was with Marvelous Marvin Hagler. So there's a good comfort level there. And I think more so than even all of that, he is just a very talented fighter.
He's younger and he's stronger, but he's not smart. Give me the smart guy. When you're young, you rely on that you're young. He didn't say that he's smarter. He didn't say to you he'd been in there with a lot of guys that Bernard Hopkins been in there with. So if you bring in those 2 bullets in your gun, and I got a machine gun of knowledge, I want those odds.
Hopkins had a long and successful career as a figure of historical significance in the middleweight division. No one would ever have dreamed that he could accomplish what he has accomplished at light heavyweight since moving up seemingly just situationally to fight Antonio Tarver here in Atlantic City 5 years ago.
20 title defenses in middleweight, and that's not even necessarily what he's going to be remembered for. Are you freaking kidding me? The guy is one of the 2 or 3 most effective ancient fighters in the history of boxing. But if he beats Chad Dawson tonight, Jim, in many ways, it's his most impressive win. A 6'2" athletic southpaw, maybe the best guy at light heavyweight. Even if he were in his prime, he'd have his work cut out, let alone at the age of 47.
And because of Dawson's physical advantages and the tremendous age difference, of course, in Las Vegas betting odds, Dawson, as of yesterday, was at least a 3-1, maybe a 4-1 favorite. But what's the precedent on that? Well, Hopkins was a 6-1 underdog against Kelly Pavlik here in Atlantic City. Tattooed him, ran him around the ring. He was a 4-1 underdog against Antonio Tarver. Dominated him. Tarver never really had a chance in the fight. Whenever Bernard Hopkins has been counted out, count him in. They're in the ring. Let's go to Joe Martinez for the official introductions.
On March 25th, the sport of boxing took a major loss when it lost a legend of its own in Bert Sugar. A prolific author, a brilliant historian, and also known for his trademark fedora, cigar, and remarkable sense of humor, he will be forever missed in our lovely sport. At this time, we ask that you please rise in silence as we pay tribute to this boxing legend, Bert Randolph Sugar, with the honorary 10 count. Thank you, and may he rest in peace. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, from historic Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey, it is time for the main event of the evening. 12-round schedule for the Ring Magazine and WBC Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. Presented by Golden Boy Promotions and Gary Shaw Productions, and sponsored by Caesars Atlantic City, Corona Extra, La Cerveza Más Fina, and AT&T, get it faster with 4G, rethink possible. Sanctioned by the New Jersey State Control Board, the chairman, Tony Orlando, Commissioner Aaron Davis, and WBC supervisor in attendance from Hawaii, Chuck Williams. The 3 judges scoring this bout at ringside on the 10-point must system from Massachusetts, Richard Flaherty. From New York, Luis Rivera. And from New Jersey, Stephen Weisfeld. When the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, New Jersey's own Eddie Cotton. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges are ready and the fighters are ready. The world is ready. Atlantic City, New Jersey, make some noise if you are ready! Introducing to you first, the challenger fighting out of the blue corner. Wearing gray, trimmed in green, he weighed in 174 and 1/2 pounds. This professional has a record consisting of 30 victories, including 17 knockouts, just 1 defeat, 1 no contest, and 1 no decision. From New Haven, Connecticut, here is the former WBC IBF Light Heavyweight Champion of the World, Bad Chad Dawson! And next his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing black, trimmed in red and green, he weighed in 173 and 1/2 pounds. This ageless boxing legend brings 52 victories, 32 knockouts, 5 defeats, 2 draws, and 2 no decisions. He is the fighting pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the former undisputed world middleweight champion, the current reigning, defending Ring Magazine WBC Light Heavyweight Champion of the World, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Hey, can't find his mouthpiece? Come on, let's go, Hop. Come on, let's go. All right, boxers, you both received my instructions in the dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands, and I want a good, clean fight. And protect yourself at all times, all right? Let's touch gloves. Let's touch them up. Touch them. Let's go.
Has Hopkins, at 47 years old, finally run out of tricks? Or is the joke on us one more time?
Round 1 begins. There's been considerable debate about what happened in the less than 2 rounds of action that took place in Los Angeles. Dawson, for his part, says Hopkins saw enough of me and what I could do that he wanted out of the fight. Hopkins, for his part, says that's absurd. Dawson was the one who was fouling me, trying to get something done that he couldn't get done with his hands. CompuBox numbers were fascinating. Hopkins threw only 29 punches in the short amount of time that they were fighting, but Dawson seemed to slow his pace down to somewhat match Hopkins, averaging only 27.5 punches per round in the 2 rounds. He needs to throw way more than that to set the kind of fast pace that he wants.
Hopkins has defied age for so long, but for the first time I'm really seeing his body, as hard as he trains, as great condition as he keeps himself, his body is finally starting to look a little older.
100% correct. There's a softness around Bernard's middle, which we have never seen there before.
You may have the muscles, but they're underneath. Your body continues to grow skin as you get older even. It doesn't stop. Dawson came out right away, started working his jab, and he's taking control over the fight right away. If you notice, he's trying to keep Bernard at a distance. He don't want to have too much body contact.
Dawson looks intense tonight. Looks as though he's quite aware that he didn't set a fast enough pace in Los Angeles and wants to start better this time.
Still moving around pretty good for an old guy, though, Hopkins.
Bernard's moving very well. He's trying to find a way to get inside, but with the great coordination of Dawson, he can't get inside.
And you saw Hopkins' brilliant head movement there as he ducked under Dawson's punch. It's very typical of Bernard to throw very few punches in the first few rounds while he establishes his defense, tries to get into the head of the opponent, and then later begins to try to pick the opponent apart with counter shots, particularly his right-hand counterpunch, which is far and away his best offensive weapon.
Yeah, he doesn't start out too early in most of his fights. I think after the first few rounds of maybe the Trinidad, I know the De La Hoya fight, he was trailing, but he comes on late on after he's sorted out his opponent's weaknesses.
But you know what, guys? This isn't every round here is important. Neither guy's a knockout puncher. And Dawson will have rounds without a lot of activity. Hopkins has to take advantage of those sort of nothing rounds and steal them if he wants to win on points, it seems.
See, now that's one thing that Dawson should not do. He should not get in any kind of wrestling confrontation with Bernard at all.
Yeah, the more infighting, the better for Hopkins, and you saw him clamping Dawson's arm on one side while hitting Dawson with the right hand on the other. There is no tactic, regardless how impure, which Bernard does not know.
He's trying, let's get a bucket. He's got to spit. Look at, he doesn't need it. Look at, he's trying to lull you to sleep. He's going to stop and throw that overhand right. He's trying to lure you into it. As long as you pay attention and stay disciplined, no problem. No problem. Let that jab go. Throw that left hand right at his chin. Chin and neck, right? Don't get countered with his right hand, okay? You get...
You're finding our rhythm. Turning. Don't waste motion. Just slide. You ain't got to bounce on your toes. Just slide to your positions, all right? You're making him miss, fire them shots in there because his head is right up in the air. Fire them shots. But when you reverse that motion and step out here to your left, you can drive that right hand up or in, all right, and make that investment. So
well, I said that Dawson was more intense, but CompuBox numbers say it was virtually identical to round 1 in Los Angeles. Hopkins was 5 of 13 in round 1 in Los Angeles. He was 2 of 16 here. Dawson was 5 of 31 in round 1 in Los Angeles. He was 4 of 31 here. Guys, identical numbers.
In the old days, that's an even round, but you rarely see rounds scored evenly anymore. So that round is going to one fighter or the other. And if Hopkins hopes to win this fight, I suggest he starts doing enough to make sure those rounds are his, those kinds of rounds are his.
Well, Dawson's greater activity level probably would have won him the round in most conventional scoring situations.
Hopkins, I think, has reached a stage in his career where fan interest is not based on how great a fight he makes, but like a lot of great fighters as they get older, legendary fighters, people simply want to see, can this old guy figure out any way to get it done?
Which is why you have the odd phenomenon that a fair number of fans will come to a Hopkins fight, boo, get bored, get restless, complain,
and come back
and
the
walk
next
away
time
saying, wow, isn't he great?
Stop.
See anything, Emmanuel?
Well, neither guy can get his rhythm going, but the main thing is I think Chad has got to try to keep, as I said, not have too much body contact. And, you know, Bernard is trying to slow the pace down, which is what he should do. To get in close, those little cuffing-like punches. Not that much, but the fact that he's still popular, and for the most part, this is still his hometown. Even though both guys are from the East Coast, there's a lot of Philadelphia people here. I don't know where the judges are going to be, where they're thinking. But even the first round, he could have possibly got it.
You've had at least one somewhat uncomfortable experience with referee Eddie Cotton in the past. Does he have tendencies which could affect the fight in any way?
He could, but I think this time he's been pretty fair at this point. I think he's doing a very good job tonight.
Hopkins said he needs to take Dawson's jab away. Without the jab, Dawson's nothing. When pressed about how he intended to take the jab away, he didn't commit. He said there's several ways to do it. I'll have to see once the fight starts. Manuel, do you see a way in which he's trying to do that?
Well, he's trying to figure out. See, Chad Dawson's got unbelievable hand and feet coordination. He can move in and out very just like a cat. That's one of his great assets that he has. But right now he's doing exactly what he should be doing, bidding down whenever Bernard comes in. He's bending into Bernard's body. And that gives Bernard a chance to get in close, do a little short punches, maybe can sway the judges and steal a decision. So that's what he shouldn't be doing. He should be creating space when Bernard comes in. He's fighting Bernard's fight at this stage.
The series finale of 24/7 Mayweather-Cotto premieres next Friday night at 8 p.m. Join us on Saturday from 4 to 9 p.m. Eastern for unprecedented Mayweather-Cotto pre-fight coverage, highlighted at 8 p.m. Eastern by Fight Day Now, a one-hour program packed with guests, interviews, features, in-depth analysis, all part of the countdown toward that night's showdown between Floyd Mayweather and Miguel Cotto, with Canelo Alvarez against Shane Mosley on the undercard, HBO pay-per-view.
If you feint him and you get him ducking down his head, remember how we did him in this with the right hook to the body? That's what it's for. You feint him, get him to bend forward, and you rip that. It's there.
Here you see Bernard coming in, doing some of the things that he do best, coming in, using his head as he moves in, and then grabbing a guy. And then from those type of exchanges, he can rough a guy up and slow the whole pace down, take Dawson out of his rhythm, and possibly win a decision even. Dawson's got to keep space.
Tickled Dawson's chin with his head, then leaned it up against Dawson's head on the inside in the clinch. Good right hand by Hopkins, by far his best punch of the fight.
Bernard still has amazing reflexes and coordination for his age.
Good rally by Dawson, landed a couple of solid shots. Hopkins feels a need to retaliate. May put himself in harm's way by doing that.
Hopkins is a pretty good point guard of his own offense. His feel for the way a fight is going and when he has to step on the gas and when he has to take the fight to his man or return fire is about as good as it gets.
No, what Dawson did there, he needs to do continually. Just take that little step back and punch instead of moving inside with his shoulder when Hopkins comes in. He's got to keep space.
It'll be interesting to watch John Scully, as the trainer in Dawson's corner, manage his fighter through this fight. Bernard Hopkins and Nassim Richardson together, that's a known quantity at this point.
Yeah, Hopkins has a very solid corner. When you look at Nassim Richardson, Leon Tabbs, Danny Davis, and Sharif Park, I mean, he's got a much more experienced corner. But still, by the same token, Scully's got one of the most talented fighters in boxing.
Hopkins is acquitting himself well so far, considering he's almost 50 and Dawson's not even 30. But is he doing enough to win some of these rounds here? Seems to me that while he's gotten a few in here and there, Dawson's more obvious damaging rally early in the round.
Well, Harold Letterman's first scorecard will be illuminating in that regard.
cleaner. No, but you have to keep it a little cleaner than that, okay? All right, let's go. Let him go, let him go. Stop. Come on.
Good left hook by Hopkins.
Just because of Dawson bending in and trying to punch it, just sort of creating space by moving back and using his jab. He's doing it again.
Stop.
Hopkins already has Dawson thinking about his head, about dirty tactics. And while he's thinking about that, Hopkins is hitting him.
But still, Dawson is bending forward too much like he did with Pascal.
I said something to you earlier, and there it is. Whenever you move your hands in combination, Rex, when you let your hands go, you can't do nothing but hide. Then look up. Look up or look with that right hook, baby. You're the last guy in boxing throwing the right hook.
You heard me there. You're starting to pick your rhythm now.
All right, you're making him miss.
All right, look, and when you're down, you're underneath him, whip that uppercut to the body. Look at, make him not want to do that so much, right? Because right now he's not paying a penalty, okay? You want some water? All right.
Here we see Dawson throw at least a series of blows. None of them landed effectively. Bernard very cagey, slipping and slide, moving away from the punches. And Dawson at that time is burning up a lot of energy and not landing anything.
You're right, Emmanuel. In real time, I thought he at least landed a good right hook to the body, but you see Hopkins even took the English off that.
Yep.
All right, round 4 begins. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, I got it 2 rounds to 1. 29-28, bad Chad Dawson.
Okay, hold on. Keep working. Turn around.
Okay, Jim, I thought that Chad Dawson won the first 2 rounds. He was a little bit busier. Bernard didn't do enough. In the 3rd round, Bernard come flying in with the right hand, landed some nice right hands, and you know, it was embarrassing. Chad Dawson, a big guy like that, real good fighter, hardly throwing a punch. He just, you know, he really should get off a lot more. He let Hopkins steal that 3rd round. 2 rounds to 1, Chad Dawson.
Time. Go to corner.
There's blood outside the left eye of Chad Dawson. Already the 2 heads have come together in an accidental butt.
That's why he should not even be bending in that close.
We got an accidental headbutt. Okay, hold. Stay the corner. We got an accidental headbutt. All right? We got an accidental headbutt.
Eddie Cotton's on his game tonight.
Doing a good job.
To manage it.
Very good job with the 2 difficult fighters to referee, particularly with the style.
As difficult as any fight you could referee, or so it appears.
While Eddie Cotton was instructing the ringside officials that it was an accidental butt, Hopkins was gathering himself in the corner. Dawson was glaring at Hopkins from the other corner to see if this brings Dawson out of his game plan and making it even more of a Hopkins-style fight.
Now Hopkins looks both ways, kind of decoys Dawson, jumps in, lands a couple punches.
Stop right there. Come on, and plus, you gotta pick him up a little bit. Let's go.
Little left hook lands for Hopkins. Straight right hand, right on the chin for Hopkins. Chad Dawson continues to fight Bernard Hopkins' fight.
Yeah, it was the cleanest punch of the fight. So because Chad is bending in, he's taking away his great height, his speed, everything by bending into Bernard.
And he's angry. He's angry about headbutts. He's angry about the cut. And he's allowing his emotions,
that's what he should do more of. Create a little space and then punch.
Dawson, it seems to me, is allowing those emotions to get the better of him in this round, at least.
The last 2 rounds.
go. Come on. Come on. 10.
Well, somewhere there are some great light heavyweights rolling over in their graves at the dreadful action that has taken place here so far, but at the end of the day, it's either a W or an L on the record, and that's what the two fighters are trying for. Look at that cut.
Chad, listen, you're in tremendous shape. You got to start putting the punches together. Hit anything you can hit with combinations. You hear me? You're trying to land perfect shots, and you're not getting started. Get started. Just let it go. I'm telling you, just like Joe Calzaghe and they'll do it. They work. They work. They work. You're going to bury him. You're going to bury him. Sit your butt down, put your chin down, and let your hands go, all right? He loves just running around.
Here you see the butt when Bernard is coming up, and and that's how the cut occurred on Chad Dawson's left eye. And shortly after that, I think you're going to see which is probably the most significant punch of the entire fight.
Which was a straight right hand from Hopkins.
Right hand from Hopkins.
Amazing that at age 47 he can still shock you with the right hand.
Yes, he's a very cagey guy. He moves around, he studies the opponent, he knows just when to punch, what to do, how to wrestle. He's fighting a beautiful fight considering what he's got going from at his age.
Dawson showing some fighting spirit there. And that time he didn't take the bait and go all the way into the corner with Hopkins.
All right, stop,
he may be beginning to think his way through this.
Turn around.
Coincidentally,
good right hand from Hopkins.
And the only loss of his career to Jean Pascal in Montreal 2 summers ago, Chad Dawson was cut by an accidental headbutt over the right eye. This time it's the left.
Some good work there by Dawson. You know, Hopkins really is at 47. As you mentioned, Emmanuel, considering it's a brilliant fight. Major League Baseball pitcher Jamie Moyer's 49. He won a game last week, set a record. But when guys get hits off him, they don't leave black and blue marks. This is a tough business to be Hopkins' age, fighting at this level.
And he's blocking most of the punches that Chad Dawson is throwing at him, which is amazing. You have to look closely, but he's catching most of those punches. Very seldom is Chad able to contact cleanly on Bernard.
Well, through 4 rounds, the CompuBox averages are Hopkins 6 out of 23 and Dawson 9 out of 32. In other words, from a statistical standpoint, they're not getting much done offensively.
No, but in retrospect, a lot of Hopkins wins are going to look better than they looked in the ring as he got to be an older fighter. Think about Muhammad Ali towards the end of his career. Many people thought getting gifts against Jimmy Young and Ernie Shavers, and especially Kenny Norton in the 3rd fight. It wasn't about could he excite people. It's about could this old guy figure out a way to get it done. And Hopkins has his head above water here. In that respect, doing an excellent job.
Great left hand by Dawson, right down the pipe, landed on Hopkins. Not easy to hit Bernard flush like that, but Chad got it done. Up, almost through the ropes again.
Chad, listen. You're better when you put the punches together and you take it to him a little bit, right? We're going to have to wear this guy down, all right? On the outside, you're waiting a little too long. You hear me? You got to make that adjustment. Now, look, you are ready to do it. You hear me? I've seen you train, and I've seen a million other guys train. You are ready. There's nothing for you to hold back. You hear me? Listen, you got to work. Get all that reserve out of you. Let's get it. Because, look, he does not like the exchanges. He does not like it. You hear me? Hands up, both hands to the body. And, look, the main thing is when they break you, you be the first one back, all right?
Chad Dawson has an excellent cut man in Rafael Garcia, one of the better ones in the sport. He's got a lot of work on his hands with that cut outside Dawson's left eye. So far, doing a reasonably good job of keeping it stopped.
And I think next week he'll be working with Floyd Mayweather also.
I like the left-hand lead by Dawson down the pipe. I'm not sure he's going to get that much done with the jab. Hopkins is on to that. That straight left hand may serve Chad Dawson a lot better. We're always talking about how conventional fighters should lead with right hand against southpaws. It's the same thing for a southpaw against a conventional fighter. Lead with the left, you might get a better result.
But it's amazing that the coordination of both of these fighters, and Bernard, which was about 17 and a half years older than Chad, and he's able to match him just about with foot and hand speed, which and considering that Dawson is one of the most coordinated athletes out there.
In case you just tuned in and missed it, on our undercard attraction, American heavyweight prospect Seth Mitchell got it done again, knocking out Chaz Witherspoon.
No.
In the third round, after having been savaged by Witherspoon and
Stop.
was seemingly out on his feet in round one.
They used up all the action for tonight, it seems.
Stick with us. I've just been told by the truck that we're going to show you the highlight of that tremendous comeback win by Mitchell immediately after this round.
Nice uppercut from Dawson.
All right, stop. Come on, let's go, let him go. Step back.
Manuel, I think Dawson thinks he really found something with the uppercut.
Let's go. Oh.
Well, he said coming into the fight that he thought the left uppercut would be one of his most effective punches here.
Yeah, to fighters mean, he said that was going to be his best punch in the fight, would be the uppercut.
Close again.
All right, stop right there, step back. Let him go, let's go. Come on. Turn around. Let him go, there you go.
While we're reminding you of everything that happens continually within the telecast immediately following this fight tonight, episode 3 of 24/7, Mayweather Cotto.
Let him go. No, stop right there, stop. Stop right there, step back. Come on, let's go.
All right. As this round comes to a close, we prepare you to look at American heavyweight Seth Mitchell's comeback victory over Chaz Witherspoon on the undercard. Mitchell, if you have not heard about him, is the former Michigan State football player. Took up boxing at age 25, a seemingly impossible task, but now he is rising fast in the heavyweight division. In round one, he was badly hurt. Chaz Witherspoon momentarily had him out on his feet. But with body punches and vicious rights and lefts in rounds 2 and 3, Mitchell came back and ultimately clocked Witherspoon against the ropes with 2 consecutive straight right hands that left Witherspoon standing, leaning against the ropes, out on his feet. Referee Randy Newman started to count, as you see there, and then waved it off. Another knockout victory, number 19 for Seth Mitchell.
Just let it pop.
Seconds out.
Deep breath, let's go.
Round 7 of a scheduled 12. Harold, how do you have it halfway through?
Okay, Jim, I got it 4 rounds to 2, 58-56, bad Chad Dawson. You know, Jim, Chad Dawson really picked it up in rounds 5 and 6. He started to open up and punch again. I thought he won those 2 rounds just like he won rounds 1 and 2. But I got to tell you, with that cut over his left eye, if the fight gets stopped because of that cut, we go to the scorecards to determine a winner because we're beyond the 4th round. The guy that's ahead on the scorecards wins by technical decision. 4-2, Dawson.
I think the last couple of rounds demonstrate why Hopkins has to win the quiet rounds. Because when Dawson takes over, asserts his athleticism, he wins the rounds by comfortable margins. It's those rounds he takes his foot off the pedal, Hopkins must capitalize.
Stop right there. Let him go. Thank you.
again, Dawson landed the left hand in that exchange. And again, a second time there. Hopkins finding it harder and harder to get away from Dawson's left hand.
Yeah, his age is starting to show a little bit on Bernard.
Stop, stop.
Logic tells you that the number in the age column had to show up at some point.
Particularly against this guy.
Stop right there, right there's good. Step out.
Hopkins had a craft advantage against Jean Pascal that made it not all that shocking that he was able to get the better of him in their second fight in Montreal and take the light heavyweight championship. He doesn't have that craft advantage against Dawson.
You know, he may have an advantage against anyone, but Dawson is certainly not Pascal. He's not a wild, awkward, unorthodox kind of fighter. He's a skillful, long, athletic southpaw. A nightmare normally for anyone to fight at any age.
Hopkins landed some good right hands and left hooks in rounds 3 and 4. But in the last 2 rounds, he has not been able to find the target. While Dawson has landed some very nice shots like that straight left hand down the pipe that punctuated the round. And again, when you're looking for the jab, the lead left hand has an open path.
This is where the young bull starts to fade out. This is where the young bull starts to fade out.
Tune in Saturday, May 12th for the series premiere of my new show, The Fight Game with Jim Lampley, a half-hour show which focuses on the sport that HBO covers with unique passion, boxing. May 19, 140-pound champion Lamont Peterson defends his title in a rematch against Amir Khan. Peterson won a controversial split decision last December. Khan looks now to regain that title. Also tonight, or that night, rising 130-pound star Adrian Broner appears again.
You're waiting for the perfect shot. Forget the perfect shot. Let your hands go. Hit anything. You hear me?
Here you see Dawson land a beautiful, perfect, straight left hand right through the center.
Hopkins was certainly correct in thinking coming in that Dawson would predicate his attack on the jab. Dawson appears to have made an adjustment in the last 2 or 3 rounds to begin throwing the straight left lead a little more often. We are in round 8 of the scheduled 12 of the rematch between Bernard Hopkins and Chad Dawson. Their matchup in October last year in Los Angeles produced the wretched debacle. The second round, Hopkins landing on Dawson's back after throwing a right hand. Dawson rising up and dropping Hopkins onto the floor, where Hopkins said that he damaged his left shoulder, and Dawson and his people say, we know of no evidence that there was such damage.
Dawson seems to be encouraging exchanges now. He wants to go in, feeling that his faster hands, he can probably get off shots a little bit faster than Bernard. He's closing the gap, getting in very close in a hunch position before he punches now. He's wanting Bernard to stand toe-to-toe with him.
He's found a home not only for the straight left hand, but for the right hook and the left uppercut. You know, Hopkins has always been a masterful chess player, accumulating small advantages throughout the fight that show up later in the fight. I don't see him accumulating any advantages here.
Dawson is beginning to pile up some advantages now as he lands multiple punches, lands combinations when he gets Hopkins to the rope.
Let him go, let him go.
Let's listen now to Nassim Richardson in Bernard Hopkins' corner.
Let's go.
See the head, see the head. Then you wonder why your head bust. Elbow. Elbow. Keep working to him, Max. Push him back. Pop that chain, push him back. There's that chain. Pop that chain. There ain't no pop. You ain't got to worry about the power. Keep walking to him. He's fading next. Put it under. Pop that chain. Keep fading. Keep fading. All right, stop. Another cruiserweight hiding down in light heavy.
Come on, let's go. Don't push down.
Keep leaning with his head.
It looks like there's a cut over both of Dawson's eyes now.
Let him go.
Hit the body, X.
Good right hand hook by Dawson, countering Hopkins left.
Stop. Let's go.
And yes, you are correct, Emmanuel.
Come on, George.
Cuts around both eyes, or so it appears now for Dawson.
Keep going upstairs. He's fading. He's not going to pick the ball. He's fading. Oh, beautiful.
Stop. Step back.
While we're listening to Richardson, he's a remarkable man. Survived a near-fatal stroke, which left him partially paralyzed several years ago. Very few of us thought that he could make it back far enough to be a top trainer and run a corner like this, but he did. Raw courage.
You stomped at him, and he showed you everything. Keep them feints on him, X. He faded. And when you went under the body, when y'all was in tight and you went under the body, his knees buckled. I need you to keep making them investments. When y'all in close, hit.
This is what it's for. You hear me? This is what it's for. This minute right here. Deep breath. Get that energy in you.
Good. You're recovering.
This.
Here you see, look like Bernard landing the left hand, so jab that caused the cut over the right eye. So if it stopped, that cannot be attributed to accidental, but that was strictly from a clean blow.
Power shots in round 8. Hopkins 6 out of 26. Dawson 20 out of 39. That's a terrific round statistically from CompuBox observation for Chad Dawson. Dawson's margin on the scorecard widening on Harold Letterman's unofficial card.
Yeah, Dawson took over the fight several rounds ago, but he did accept some real punishment and looked fatigued at times, just from the look on his face in that last round. I will say that since the Roy Jones fight, I have not scored a fight against Bernard Hopkins. I'm scoring this one against him so far.
And now let's listen for a while to John Scully in Chad Dawson's corner.
Don't let him walk like that, Chad. Don't let him walk away. Sharp jab.
Stop right there. Good. Step back.
Hands up. Be first. Dig on him in there.
Stop.
There.
Come on, let him go. Right there's good. Step back. Right there's good. Stop. Easy. Step back. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Let's go.
Clock is ticking. The rounds are going by.
Let's go.
Dawson is fighting with confidence and elan, and Hopkins' tenure as the light heavyweight champion may well be running out.
Stop. Let's go.
All right, between rounds, we're going to show you highlights of another undercard fight that took place here tonight. 9 rounds complete. Now, earlier this evening, Sean Porter, an unbeaten welterweight from Akron, Ohio, was taking on silver-trunked opponent Patrick Thompson. And it was a rough physical fight with a lot of wrestling and tugging and contact between the heads and the upper bodies. But Porter was able to land the cleaner punches, and eventually he attacked Thompson, particularly with a big left hook. And the referee stopped the fight, even though Thompson was still on his feet. TKO winner in round 6. 19-0 now, Shawn Porter of Akron.
You're in too good a shape not to overwhelm this guy. You hear what I'm saying? Listen to what I'm saying. You are in too good a shape not to overwhelm this guy. Let your hands go. Put your hands up, let him go.
No, we got to take it.
I need you underneath, X. I need you working. Don't let him feign bullshit. He's resting. He's resting out there.
Stop.
3 rounds to go. Harold Letterman, how far is Hopkins behind on
Jim,
your
I
card?
got it 88-83, 7 rounds to 2. Bad Chad Dawson. You know, Jim, unless there's a knockdown in this fight, Chad Dawson has already won the fight. I mean, you need 7 rounds in a 12-round fight to get a decision, and Chad's got 7 rounds in the back. It's not a hard fight to score, Jim. I don't think the judges are going to have too much problems with this. Chad Dawson's the busier guy. Hopkins comes in and lands 1 shot, never lands 2. It's generally 1 right-handed grab. So, you know, Dawson is the more active guy, landed the better shots. 7-2, Dawson.
Another quick right hook there by Dawson.
Give you an example of what I was talking about earlier in the fight. Harold gave the first 2 rounds to Chad Dawson. Nothing much happened. Hopkins lands 1 or 2 more shots here or there in those first 2 rounds. Harold has it 5-4 right now. But Dawson is clearly way out in front.
Well, in the most disappointing stretch of Hopkins' career, he lost 2 consecutive fights to Jermaine Taylor, arguably because he was trying to cut it too fine, trying not to take risks, not extending himself in close rounds, gave too many close rounds to Taylor.
But in that fight, in that first fight in particular, Hopkins was accumulating small advantages. It did show late in the fight, and that hasn't been the case here.
Absolutely.
So far, Hopkins has been bested. I don't think you could say that in either Taylor fight, in the Calzaghe fight. You could never really say, well, he definitively lost. But so far tonight, that's what's happening.
And where's the surprise in that? He's 47 years old. The surprise is everything he's done up to this point.
Well, look, let's say some judges gave Hopkins one of those first 2 rounds. They could have. Hopkins can still do something big here late and maybe salvage something.
And either fighter's been able to put 2 combinations together, for the most part, maybe 1 or 2 clean punches around. And even though I have Dawson in my mind winning, you never know. This is still close to Hopkins' hometown, and he's a very popular fighter here. So it might be a little closer than we were saying.
All right, stop. Easy. Stop. No.
We've seen some terrible decisions this year.
Yeah. Come on, you got something in his head.
We've seen terrible decisions,
Right,
and there have been terrible
stop
decisions in the sport on other networks and in other situations. There have been too many of them this year.
All right, stop. Right there. Come on, step back.
And of course, we're in the venue where Paul Williams got a completely unjustified decision win over Erislandy Lara last year, but those judges were suspended. May 19 on World Championship Boxing, Lamont Peterson defends his 140-pound crown against Amir Khan in the rematch of their controversial December fight, won by Peterson. Also that night, rising star Adrian Broner defends his 130-pound title. Tune into Real Sports on May 22 for the inspirational story of Ray Greenhalgh. Born with cerebral palsy, Greenhalgh, unable to walk, crawled into a boxing ring and threw his first punch at age 21. Now, 5 years later, he moves around the ring hitting the pads with his uncle and godfather, retired fighter Mickey Ward.
Hands up, bang, 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 bang. Before he can get his hands up. Do to him what he was trying to do to you. Make you. Let me talk. Listen, step around and let your hands go.
What a job Rafael Garcia has done on the cuts around Dawson's eyes.
Fantastic job on the cuts. Really good job. Especially when you have 2 of them.
And why not? He's only been doing it for more than 60 years. 60.
been talking about Hopkins losing this fight so far. Still impressive. Still, you know, against the best 175-pounder in the world by most accounts. As a 4-1 underdog at 47 years old. He really ain't getting hit that much. He's not getting beaten up.
Stop, brother, stop. Right there. Easy. I got it.
Neutralizing a lot of what Dawson's doing. Getting a shot in here and there.
I personally believe the most impressive thing Bernard has done in the last 2 years was not something he did in the ring. It was to arrange for Dewey Bozella to get a pro fight.
Let's go. Turn around.
Dewey Bozella, a man who spent 26 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit.
He's here tonight.
Here at ringside tonight in honor of Hopkins because Bernard arranged for Bozella to fulfill his life's dream on the undercard in Los Angeles. And Bozella went out at age 52 and won the only pro fight of his career.
And Bernard is winning this round.
So here it is in the 11th round. If he wins this round, Harold Letterman will have given him 3. The first 2, nothing much happened. Maybe there's some drama in the 12th.
Come on.
Wow. 2 terrific exchanges. How often do you see that in a Bernard Hopkins fight?
But Dawson didn't land how many of those punches. So far, the clean punches, what I can see, is still going to Hopkins this round.
Let's go.
Dawson in those exchanges wouldn't let Hopkins take the play away from him. He was ending them.
Take it easy. Get up. Go to the corner. Bernard. Take it easy, all right.
NFL draft still ongoing. Maybe Hopkins' high tackle there will catch the eyes of some scouts.
Let him go. All right, stop right there. Nice.
Hopkins came very close to coming over Dawson's back again, a la Los Angeles. And Dawson actually smiled at referee Eddie Cotton. I'm sure he was thinking the same thing.
Stop.
Dig down, baby. That right hook. Need that right hook, baby. Need the fire. When you punch a combination, you see it fall apart on you, X. The right hand starts showing up, but we need the combinations, X. We got to put the hurt on it now.
I'm right here.
All right?
I'm doing good. I'm winning this round big.
I need you to go out there.
He's waiting for you to spin him and blast away with combinations. You hear me? It makes no sense to get him in that position and then not take advantage. Now listen, look at me. All that training you did with this man right here, this is why, right now. Deep breath, listen, we need it right now.
Scully's giving it all he's got.
And Bernard said that he's going to win this round big, so it should be an exciting 12th round.
A victory for Chad Dawson would again make him the lineal light heavyweight champion of the world. And he'd have a W over Bernard Hopkins on his record, which of course is rare.
Well, John Scullers did a great job of coaching him, pushing him through the fight, and Cutman Garcia's did a great job.
No, stop.
Off this performance, Emmanuel, do you see the same qualities in Dawson that we were praising to the skies a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I don't know. Bernard is very hard to look good against. Bernard smothers you, gets inside. Very difficult fighter to look good against.
Agreed.
Early on, I thought Hopkins was taking Dawson out of Dawson's game plan. Dawson was fighting emotionally. But as this fight has progressed, I think it's become apparent that Dawson's heightened emotional state for this rematch with Hopkins has seen him through.
That's close, that's close.
He's avoided those kind of lulls that often take place in Dawson fights in the middle round. And he never really allowed Hopkins to steal those quiet middle rounds
right there. Come on.
by staying emotionally engaged in the fight.
I agree. I think it was not only Dawson's ability to fight with emotion, but Scully's ability to keep Dawson connected to that emotion throughout the fight.
Scully did a great job with him. Because that's one of the biggest problems with Dawson is he has those mental lapses sometimes during his fights.
Stop right there. Come on.
Scully was a light heavyweight fighter himself.
Come on, let's go. Thank you.
He shook his hand yesterday and instantly said, wow, big hands for a light heavyweight. He was so pleased.
Meanwhile, this is the last old guy that Dawson needs to beat in the light heavyweight division. He's beaten all the other old guys who campaigned at 175 in recent years. There's some interesting new younger guys in the division now that he can turn his attention to. Should he get this decision?
Chad! 20 seconds! Work, Chad, work! Chad, let it go!
Stop.
Show off!
Go.
Let it go!
Good uppercut by Dawson.
Stop, right there's good. Let him go. Step back.
No 12th round magic for Hopkins. In a scruffy fight. Scratch and slip all the way. Chad Dawson appears to have gotten it done. Unsung hero of the fight, the old man with the pins all over his cap in the corner. Rafael Garcia handled those cuts from the 4th round on, and brilliantly so. All right, Harold, show us your scorecard.
Okay, Jim, I got a 117, 111, 9 rounds to 3. Bad Chad Dawson. You know, Jim, I just don't think you can win a fight by putting your head down and, charge and run in and land one right hand. No. What amazes me about Bernard Hopkins is that he takes a great punch. I mean, Chad Dawson hit him with some monumental left hands in his fight and never even dropped him, never even hurt him. I mean, hardly got a mark on him. The guy does take a great punch, which makes it look closer than it was. But in reality, Dawson landed the better punches. He won most of the rounds. 9-3, Chad Dawson.
Harold, you have confidence in the official judges here.
Well, we hope so. Okay, Dick Flaherty. Now, this one is a little baffling. I mean, the guy comes from the Northeast. Chad Dawson comes from the Northeast. You know, he was responsible for Mickey Ward winning that first fight with Arturo Gatti. So, that's the one that I sort of question.
Take that fight.
Louis Rivera, he used to be a professional fighter. He once fought Vito Antifermo as a pro. Good judge. He used to be a great referee. They don't let him referee anymore because of a heart problem. Steve Weisfeld, he's the rising young judge in New Jersey. He works an awful lot here. I like him very much. He's an attorney, very bright, knows what he's looking at.
Joe Martinez has the official scores. Let's go to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. And here are the judges' totals. Judge Luis Rivera scores the bout even, 114-114. Judges Richard Flaherty and Stephen Weisfeld agree, 117-111. Your winner by majority decision. And new Ring Magazine WBC
Well, the Luis Rivera scorecard was certainly disquieting, but justice is done by the other two judges, and Dawson gets the victory he deserves. Let's take a look at the CompuBox numbers for the fight. First, the total number of punches. Dawson landing 45 more, throwing 31 more, landing at a 9% higher percentage. Power punches. Dawson landing 44 more, throwing 13 fewer, landing nearly 50% of his power shots against Bernard Hopkins. That's not easy to do. That straight left hand down the middle, once he began to use it from the middle part of the fight on, was a significant factor in opening up Dawson's offensive arsenal against Hopkins. He was stopping the jab. The straight left hand brought the offense behind it. Let's go to Max Kellerman now, standing by with the winner.
Congratulations, Chad Dawson, on beating Bernard Hopkins by a wider margin, it seemed, than anyone since Roy Jones. What does that feel like right now?
I mean, I feel good. You know, I took a lot of headbutts. Actually, my head is hurting right now, but, you know, he's a great fighter, he's a historian. He's going down in the Hall of Fame. I mean, now it's my time to work on my game. I step my game up another notch. I give all credit to Bernard before the hell of a fight. Like I said, he's a dirty fighter, though, man, but if you can get through that, you can get through anything.
Let's look at that headbutt. Here it is. Describe it to us.
I mean, it's what we work for, man. I mean, he knew the headbutts were coming. It's obvious that he caught me with like 8 headbutts. I mean, the ref didn't warn him at one time. Not saying anything bad about the ref, but they were obvious, they were blatant. You could hear our heads clashing together. But on to another note, I give my best to Bernard. You know, he fought a hell of a fight. It's a great fight. He's a lot younger than what people think he is. I acknowledge that.
When you were separated and the referee was alerting ringside officials that it was an unintentional butt, you were glaring at Bernard. You looked angry. What were you thinking at that moment?
I mean, when you know the headbutts are blatant, you mean you're going to get a little upset. But, you know, I kept my composure. I didn't do anything back to retaliate. I kept my composure, you know. I mean, but it was obvious that the headbutts he was doing it on purpose. So.
Your trainer, John Scully, was exhorting you in between rounds to maintain the pace. And what was that doing for you in between rounds?
I tell you, I'm doing great. That's why I'm with him. I mean, he motivates me, he pushes me. But let me tell you one thing. You know, Bernard Hopkins is a hell of a fighter, man. I mean, like I said, he got his little dirty tactic, but I give him all the credit in the world. Even though he's leaving the ring, he probably doesn't say anything to me, but he's a hell of a fighter. I mean, he came in, he fought his heart out, and it was a great fight.
All right, you are now, once again, the light heavyweight champion of the world. You've gotten rid of all the old fighters in the division, but there's some new, interesting young fighters here. Any interest you in particular?
I mean, I would love a fight with Andre Ward. I mean, I think that makes for a great fight.
Super middleweight champion.
Super middleweight champion. I mean, I can make 168, or we could do it at 175 catchweight. It doesn't matter to me. You know, I want to make my statement known. I want everybody to know who I am. I have to go after the big dogs.
Congratulations, Chad, and thanks.
Thank you.
Jim.
All right. Thank you very much, Max Kellerman. So Chad Dawson gets his measure of revenge for what happened in Los Angeles, reassumes the position he held up until a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, as the top fighter, the kingpin in the light heavyweight division. As for Hopkins, he is removed at age 47 from the ranks of world champions, quite probably for the last time in his career. Bernard refused to grant us an interview. Competitive to the end, he stated when asked about the interview that he thought it was a bad decision. That's Bernard Hopkins. Chad Dawson is back where he expected to be. And now let's see if his considerable potential as a fighter can be fulfilled in entertaining fights, which might be available in the light heavyweight division, or, as you heard him say, possibly against a 168-pound fighter like Andre Ward or some of the others in that division. We'll see. Meanwhile, we want to remind you that the third episode